Holy smokes, let's try that again. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Great.
Okay, that was like a little bit. We're going to roll with it. I'm going to cover the calendar between now and the end of the month. Come on in, John. How are you? I'm doing wonderful. Well, hello there. How are you? And then we'll dive right into today. So today, the 23rd team meeting. Just a reminder, almost immediately after the team meeting from 12:30 to 1:30, Michelle Smith, our legal advisor, will be here. She's got a great Q&A session. I think she's already received a few questions ahead of time, so she'll cover some topics that are relevant. Great. She's a wealth of information. You can ask questions. And if you haven't met her, just introduce yourself to her as well. Come on in, Jim. And I highly recommend that you get in on that, and then we're going to have lunch just before that too. So we'll end the meeting, grab some food, stick around for Michelle, and figure out how to CYA, as Jim would call it, which is, what does that stand for? CYA is Central Intelligence. Cover your assets. Cover your assets. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. The 24th, tomorrow, how to market your listings with Katie will take place here from 11 to 12, and then we're going to keep going through coaching on the 25th from 9:30 to 10:30. It's been going good with Brad, John, Jake. You've been to one. Who else? You were there. Fantastic. So please come on into that. It's a good session. Reminder that we are closed on Monday. You can still come and use the office. That's not a big deal, but staff won't be here on Monday the 28th. And then on the 29th, Sally is doing a lunch and learn from 11:30 to 12:30 right here. And then on the 30th, I'm going to go over the organizational models from the budget and organizational models from the MREA from 11 to 12. If you're at that point in your business where you're thinking, man, I might need to hire somebody, that would be a good session to attend, because talking about the organizational model, talks about hires, talks about leverage, talks about budgeting for them. So anything else for me for the good of the order before we dive in? Okay. So I was in Winona and I was in Unalaska yesterday, and I asked those guys, I said, how's the market? So I want to ask you the same question. How's the market? Depends. Okay, so you said, did you say bad?
Yeah, I said eh.
You said eh, which is a made-up word. John says depends.
It's great. Unbelievable.
Great, unbelievable, unbelievable, good or bad?
Good.
Okay, who else? Fast. Trudy, you got to throw out a word?
It's good. Challenging.
Well,
Challenging.
Still competitive.
Competitive, challenging, competitive. The two words I got from yesterday were terrible and I'm trying to remember the other one. I had it written down. I think it was terrible and wild. It was just kind of, it was a little bit negative, like, oh god, this market's just insane. So we're going to take a little bit of time today to, we're going to talk some mindset stuff, and then toward the end of it, I'm going to give you guys some ideas you can use moving forward into the summer to kind of help jumpstart or really infuse into your business and get you going. So bear with me as we go through some of today's content to really help you get back in the mix of things.
How many offers did you get last night?
I'm sorry, my hearing is bad. You talking to me?
yes.
I'm sorry.
All right, and some of it is, we just finished and graduated Bold, so some of that stuff is fresh in my mind too, and I think it's really relevant right now, because if we're real with ourselves and we have some self-talk, which is, I like some of the words that Trudy used. It's challenging. It's competitive. Everybody else is right though. It's an unbelievable market. It's fast. It depends, but it's truly a great market. And sometimes we tell ourselves because it's so competitive or it's so tough that it's a terrible market, when in reality, if we search for the opportunities there, it's pretty unbelievable and pretty remarkable to be a real estate agent in today's market. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Zach, I have a quick question
Yes.
before we move forward. How
Okay.
many people from here graduated from Bold?
7.
I think we need to give them all a round of applause.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for jumping ahead. I appreciate that. We were going to do that later. There's a cake for you guys who graduated, but if you go Bulldog Debbie, she doesn't mess around. Okay. Yeah. So a quick Bulldog Benson. I'm sorry. Just got to get the alliteration. Reminder: it's all about energy, and we're always interviewing. When you're showing up to an appointment, Nick is a good guy. He's got so much energy back there, he can't sit still. When you're showing up to an appointment, whether it's a listing, a buyer consultation, you're holding an open house, etc., everything that you're exuding, your energy and your attitude is going to carry over to your interaction with that client, whether or not you have the ability to win that business, right? So if we're already kind of beating ourselves up about the market, we're bringing that energy to an appointment, how do you think that appointment's gonna go?
Not
Not as
very
good
well.
as it could go if you came with the right attitude, mindset, and energy, right? Yeah, the market is fast right now. That's great news for you, Mr. Seller. Here's why. So sometimes ask yourself, especially before you go into an appointment or if you're feeling like you're in a funk, what is your state? What's your energy? And more importantly, how can you influence it? So if you've ever been in a situation where you're kind of feeling down or you're in a funk, what are some things that you've done to kind of influence that or turn it around? Anybody, feel free to share.
Exercise.
Exercise, that's a great one.
Affirmations.
Affirmations, what kind of affirmations, Debbie?
I am positive.
That's a good one. I'm an 80s music guy. Like if I need to get like, what do you think I was listening to before I came in here?
Duran Duran.
I said Michael Duran. Yeah, that was playing, man. Yeah. Hey, I'll be the first to admit, hey, absolutely. I love 80s music. I'll turn it on. It gets me psyched up. Come on in, how are you? And just puts me in a good mood. If you come in on an Army drill weekend, if I'm in the office and you come into my office, it's 80s music going on because that's what I need. Just keeps me calm, keeps me in a good mood, keeps me positive. Or sometimes what I'll do is I will go YouTube a Robin Williams video or a Jim Carrey video. They're like my two favorite comedians. If I need a quick self-correction, I'll watch it a little bit, gets me right back in the mix of things, fixes that mindset and brings the energy up, right? So, have you ever driven up to a home for a listing appointment, you're in the driveway, you're about ready to get out of your car, and you just feel miserable? I heard a few yeses, right? And you're just like, we'll see what happens, right? Have you kind of already kind of waved the white flag of surrender before you walk into that appointment?
Yeah.
If that's kind of your mindset, you haven't just yet. So how can you self-correct that? How can you influence your own energy and mindset before you walk into those types of appointments? And realizing that is more than half the battle, because a lot of times, a lot of agents or a lot of people, we go through life, come on in, Leanne. We go through life, and because there's a chair right over there by Jean. Just watch out for this cord here. We go through life, and these things are happening, but we never realize it because we never stop to pause and reflect and have some self-realization. So it's okay. It's only human to feel this way, to have these reactions and stuff. But the biggest difference is, do you recognize it, and then do you take the time to change it and to do something about it? So the first step is being aware of it. The second step is actually taking a conscientious step toward fixing it, addressing it, and so that you can move in there with the right energy, attitude, and mindset, right? Question your assumptions. Your drunk monkey will always jump to the quickest answer. I just did this yesterday with my mom. I was over there last night for dinner, and she told me, she's like, she's a productivity coach at the Burnsville office, so she's always talking with new agents and trying to get them encouraging them to join the Burnsville Keller Williams office. And there was an agent that she had spoke with, and the agent ended up joining another company, I take it back. It was somebody that we used to know at Edina Realty. They joined a RE/MAX office. And she's like, I can't believe he joined that, didn't call or talk to us. We've known him for years, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, Mom, you should call him. She goes, well, no, he literally just joined. Why would I call him? I said, why wouldn't you? You can call him and say, hey, Jerry, this is Aaron. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't call us. I know the ink is still probably wet on the paperwork over there, but I'd love to grab coffee and tell you about us a little bit. Right? And she's like, you know what, you're right. I'm making a huge assumption that there wouldn't be any interest there. When in reality, what we know is sometimes in that first week or two, if things don't go right, there's an opportunity, right? So whether you have assumptions about for sale by owners, expireds, whether or not you think an offer is going to come together, or your client's submitting a dumb offer or a stupid offer or an offer that's not strong, I don't care. You have a fiduciary, adjust your mindset and how you're viewing it and make it happen, right? I can't tell you how many times that the initial assumption I've had has actually played it out from beginning to end has proven to be completely wrong. And I know that happens a lot in our industry. Raise your hand if you can think of a time where you made an assumption about a client and you realize, man, I was pretty wrong about that. Yeah. Or another agent, right?
Or yourself.
Absolutely. So the follow-up to that realization is, okay, if we know that sometimes we're making false or bad assumptions, the next question is, what are my assumptions costing me? Then more importantly, this is more impactful for me because I relate to my family, is what is it costing others? What are my assumptions costing me and what are they costing others? And then can I fix and address that? I'm assuming the market is super competitive right now, so we don't even have a chance at all at securing an offer on this property. It's just not gonna happen. Well, if you go into that situation with that assumption and that mindset, I can almost guarantee you, yeah, you're right, you're not gonna find success. The first part of any transformation is awareness. Whether it's your personal life, your business, whatever, if you're looking to transform it to change, the first thing you have to do is realize that there is a need for change, or that there's a desire for change. And once you realize that, the transformation can begin, because you can start taking active steps toward making the changes that you need to. Okay, I've realized that sometimes my mindset, my attitude might be affecting my ability to do my job. I'm realizing that sometimes I'm making assumptions that are probably not productive. So if I need to change or transform that, I need to identify these things and consciously take action when that happens to fix it, right? Because in a hyper-competitive market, in a challenging market, we're dealing with these issues every day. Would you agree? Absolutely. It's tough to be a realtor right now. It's tough to be a realtor any day, right? No matter what market you're in, there's some aspect of that market that makes it tough. But is there always opportunity?
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's what we have to focus on. That's what we have to remind ourselves of. Yeah, I get it. It is freaking tough right now. I get it. It is cutthroat to get a listing. I've got to write, I'm competing against 6 offers. This is the 3rd time I've written with this buyer, and they hate me because we keep losing. Yeah, I get it. It's tough. You have to be in control of your mindset, your energy, pick yourself up, pick your clients up, and move the ball forward. Nobody else is going to do it for you. And you guys can do it. You can do it. You've done it before, and you will keep doing it. But the quicker you can realize it and make it happen, the quicker you're going to get to the next deal, and you're going to have a happy client. You're going to get to that close. Any thoughts or ahas before I move on to the next slide?
I'm just gonna say, when I got my license in 2005,
Uh-huh.
the best advice I've ever given was from my dad. And he said, your business, 92% of it is right here. He said, never forget that.
Absolutely.
And I always thought when the short sales, the foreclosures, and all that, all of a sudden you start thinking, how am I ever gonna help these people sell their house in the short sale? How am I ever gonna do this? Finally, I decided I need to help these people sell in their short sale situation. I just had to change the mindset. You just work it out. And if you stop thinking about what the market is and just continue to work and do the things on a daily basis, you'll continue to run your business.
Absolutely. And when people say, God, the market is tough, I think back to, I got licensed in 2010. Think back, no, that market was tough. That market was tough. And oh, by the way, was there also opportunity in that market?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. We compete against our potential every day. Our biggest competitor is mediocrity, or being average, or just being good. There's nothing wrong with being good, but it's not great. And sometimes I find it helpful to ask myself this question: am I doing just enough to get by? Am I doing just enough to get by, or am I doing the best that can be done? Am I doing just enough to get by, or am I doing the best that can be done? And let's be real here: we're not superhuman, right? If we're constantly doing the best that can be done, then the question becomes, well, when do I just take a break and push the pause button for a minute, right? So really, I would say this is kind of a 2-part thing to think about. Ask yourself: am I doing just enough to get by, or am I doing the best that can be done? And is there a reason why I find myself doing enough to get by versus doing the best that I can? Do I have a plan to make a move from doing just enough to get by to doing the best that I can? Or is it a question of, if I feel I'm not doing the best that can be done, what more is it that I need to do? What more is it that I can do? This one was kind of interesting. If you've ever been in Bold before, they make you do this exercise. And this was my 11th time through Bold, and I still hated and didn't understand this exercise. But they make you say, what's your drunk monkey? What's your biggest fear? And then you have to say it out loud to somebody. And as you're saying it out loud to them, their job is to laugh at you and kind of make you feel stupid about what you're saying. And I was like, I just never got it. This is so stupid. And then this last time it finally clicked the way the instructor described it. He said, what's happening is, it sums up right here, but do your excuses sound silly when you say them out loud? It must be hilarious. So for example, hey, did you do the lead generation you needed to last week? What's a common response you sometimes get? I didn't have enough time. Didn't have enough time. Really? You're telling me in all of last week you didn't have enough time to lead generate? Is it, when you put it that way, does it really actually kind of sound stupid? You probably had time to do some Netflix binging. You probably had time to do the things that you wanted to do. You probably did some stuff here and there. So the question is really, it's not so much about your excuses. It's about realizing you have the choice to do what it is you need to do or not to do it. And are you selling yourself on your excuse, or are you just going to take responsibility? No, I didn't. Why not? Well, for whatever reason, I didn't make it a priority. I didn't get around to it. I had the time to do it, and I chose not to. Right? That's not making an excuse. That's being aware of the decisions that you're making in your business on a daily basis. Your self-image chases your self-talk. If you're constantly beating yourself up, that's going to become your mindset and your attitude. If you're constantly coming up with affirmations and telling yourself, we've got this, we're going to make it happen, we're going to bring this deal together, then your image is going to chase that self-talk. I would highly recommend the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. I'm going through it right now. It's been fantastic. He explains the biggest thing that keeps good companies from becoming great is that they're satisfied with just being good. Right? Because when you're good, sometimes it's hard. There's really no pressure, no impetus to take it to the next level, right? But what you realize is if you're good and you just maintain good, you're on cruise control, what can happen around you, what can change in your environment? I'll put it to you this much. It doesn't take much to go from good to bad. Right? It does not take much to go from good to bad, but if you're constantly striving for and achieving great, it becomes that much more difficult to ever take a step backward. And in an industry like ours, where the market can change on a dime and will change, if you just go on cruise control, the market forces will impact your business, and probably not for the better. But if you're constantly pushing to better it, to better yourself, to better your business, no matter what the market does, you will find success and you will grow. Constant and never-ending improvement. That's a good mantra to apply, really not just to your business, but to yourself. What are you doing to constantly continue to improve yourself, your knowledge, your training, your education, your business, etc.? Any thoughts or ahas on this one? Anybody?
I have a lot to say about that. So
Oh, please do.
I think that the crux of how, so just what you said, this can be a really challenging business.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we get knocked down. Sometimes we get told no. Sometimes our offers don't get accepted. Sometimes we don't listen without get. A lot of bad things can happen. So it's easier because of our human nature to go from good to bad.
Absolutely.
To fall backwards. And sometimes it takes a lot of effort and a lot of self-talk to bring our self-image back on par to then go from good to great.
Absolutely.
And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But if we continue our self-talk of, I'm a bad agent, I'm a bad realtor, I should have done that differently, it's my fault, all of that, that's when we end up going backwards. But if we are changing our self-talk to, it doesn't really matter what this market is like, I know I'm a good realtor, and things are going to change. I know that my clients need my help because of the skills and the talents that I have to help them.
Absolutely.
And to keep moving forward. sometimes there's something deep within us that we have to resolve, as it can take us way backwards. And I think I've read Jim Collins' book. I think there's a lot of great insight into that. I just had this challenge this past year with myself, and I have a great book that is full of affirmations. It has been really helpful for me. And sometimes it's a spiritual issue. Sometimes it's something that we have to grapple with on a personal basis in order to move ourselves forward. But I think you're absolutely right, Zach, that we can make excuses all day long, but if we really believe in what we're doing and what we're doing is the right thing, and we just keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest differentiators of our office culture is, for example, if and when you come to me and say business is tough, it's just not working, my immediate response is going to be, well, great. What are you doing? What are your daily activities? What are you doing in your business? Right? I'm not going to go ahead and let you fall victim to blaming the market. Well, the market's just terrible, so I'm not transacting. Well, no, that's not the case. Anybody can transact in the market. So what we need to do is, there's a huge difference between victim talk and taking responsibility for your successes and your struggles, right? So thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Mindset is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I kind of already talked about that a little bit. Whatever you're telling yourself, that you have a greater chance of doing, whether it's positive or negative. An attitude is a reflection of what's going on the inside, showing up on the outside. Now, this is an interesting saying, not just applied to yourself, but I find this interesting to apply to clients or potential clients, and, oh, by the way, other real estate agents that might be interacting or transacting, right? If someone's coming off super nasty, that's likely, or I have a client that's coming off super nasty, so there's probably something going on and that's coming out in their interaction with me for some reason, right? And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that, because if somebody interacts with you in a negative way, our human nature is to make what kind of an assumption? They must be mad at me. What did I do wrong? Holy crap, why do they hate me, right? When sometimes, that's an assumption. It gets right back to what I said earlier about making assumptions. When in reality, well, maybe something happened that day that you have no idea, you're not aware of, or there's something that they're going through currently that just happens to be coming out, and unfortunately you happen to be there at that time, right? So sometimes you have to ask a few more questions or just remind yourself of that. My wife in particular, she's the kind of person that, do you have to have tough conversations in real estate sometimes? Mm-hmm. During negotiations or even with your own clients? Absolutely, and that eats her up. Right? Raise your hand if you're one of those people. Or sometimes you cannot sleep at night because you've got something on your mind because of a conversation that you just had, or a conversation you know you need to have, and you just don't want to deal with it, or somebody was really nasty to you, right? Well, we need to remind ourselves is, here's the deal. More than likely, that's not really directed at me. It's not my issue. So I'm not going to spend another second on it, right?
I think the more you have difficult conversations, the easier they become.
I would agree. In my own experience, I have found that to be true. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're always easy, but they definitely can become easier.
And you gain wisdom from your mistakes or wins in those difficult conversations for the next one.
I think truly for me, what has made it easier is I've realized that by having those tough conversations, getting it done and out of the way was so much easier than never having them and letting it just boil over or explode into something much bigger. Right? My dad always used to tell me, he's a former Marine, he would always tell me, Zach, here's the deal, man. It's better to just be honest with me today than have me find out later that you were lying. As he was doing this. Just kidding. Just kidding. But that has stuck with me, and that's how I've operated. It's so easier just to be upfront and honest and have those difficult conversations than it is to skirt them or sugarcoat them or just not have them all together. And applying that to our businesses, it can take some of the stress off you, right? Let's just get it done. Let's move on, get it over with, and focus on what we can do in the future.
And still be kind.
Absolutely, and professional.
Yeah.
And professional.
Just sat in on Karen Becker's ethics class yesterday, and the first article is golden rule: do unto others what you would have them do unto you. And so, if you always keep that in the forefront of your mind, are you going to say things to somebody else that you want them to say back at you?
Right. Especially in a market where you just lost a multiple offer, and what you want to do is blame it on the other agent. Leanne's like smiling over there.
I've done that.
She's like, how'd you know? Right?
I about ripped somebody's head off over the phone when I was in Mexico, and it just didn't go well. But it was, yeah. Anyway, it's a long story. But.
Well, that's what happens when you make business phone calls when you've been sipping
In Mexico.
Zach, I do have one more thing to say.
Sure.
So when I was first licensed, brand new agent in 2004, and I was at RE/MAX at the time, and there were a lot of older agents in the office who become very cynical and very negative about their business, about transactions, interactions with clients and realtors, and I thought, I never want to be like that. I never want to be that cynical agent. And as the years have gone on, I'm understanding now where that has come from. Why they have been, why they have become so cynical. So that has been in the forefront of my mind to guard myself against that, to say, even though this is a challenging situation, I'm not going to be cynical about it. Giving people the benefit of the doubt.
which can be hard to do.
Can be really hard to do. But I think it's important, and I think it's really necessary for us to be good representatives to our clients and to
Absolutely.
not be
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got nothing to add to that. That was very well said. But here's an interesting story, an interesting experiment. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this, and I'll cover it very briefly, but it's an interesting takeaway and it's a good reminder. A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a cage. In the middle, there was a ladder with a banana on top. Every time a monkey went up the ladder, the scientists soaked and sprayed everybody else with ice-cold water. After a while, every time a monkey would try to go up the ladder to get one of the bananas, the other monkeys would gang up on and beat up that monkey to prevent them going to the top of the ladder so they wouldn't get sprayed. After some time, no monkey would dare to go up the ladder regardless of the temptation. The scientists then decided to substitute one of the monkeys. So they pulled out one of the monkeys that had been there the whole time, getting soaked, witnessing the beatings, and put in a brand new monkey that had no idea what was going on. The first thing the new monkey did was to try to go up the ladder. Immediately, the other monkeys beat him up. After several beatings, the new monkey learned not to even try to climb the ladder, although the monkey had no idea why, other than he didn't want to get beat up. A second monkey was substituted, and again, that same thing occurred, and actually, the first monkey even participated in the beating up of the second monkey. So they cycled all this through until all 5 of the monkeys were replaced. And what was left was a group of 5 monkeys that, even though they'd never received the cold shower, continued to beat up any monkey that attempted to climb the ladder. If it was possible to ask the monkeys why they're doing it, the response would likely be, I don't know, that's just how things have always been done around. I can't tell you how many times, especially right away, I don't get it as much anymore, but sometimes you guys probably hear it. Well, this is how we do it in the Rochester market. So that's how we do it in this industry. That's how it's done in Rose. That's how we do it in Monroe. That's how we do it in Austin. Right? Just because that's the way that it has been done doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be done. And the other thing I would ask is, do you have any monkeys in your life pulling you down? Or are you a monkey that's pulling somebody down? And what changes are you going to make to avoid that? I deal with this all the time when it comes to all the different associations that we interact with as an office. We're part of CMAR, we're part of LARA, there's one or two others that we kind of interact with. And some, one of them, they're all good people, great associations, but sometimes they drive me nuts. Or we're trying to input something on MLS, and so we can't do that. Why? Well, to be honest, we really don't know. Well, that's not a satisfying answer for my agents. So questioning, trying to do things differently, doing things not necessarily a terrible thing. Thinking outside the box and trying to get creative can be very beneficial.
I had a quick question on that though.
Yes.
So,
No questions allowed.
that's good.
What's up?
That's the way we always do it.
What are some like exercises you could do to be more creative, like to expand that part of your brain?
To add some creativity.
Yeah, are there any like exercises you could do for that, or?
Creativity, like what do you mean specifically?
Yeah, I mean, there's some creative things I can tell you.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask Nick that question. The best piece of advice I can give you off the top of my head right now would be to try to find some books on that subject, on creativity, on marketing, on advertising, and see what you can come up with and see what kind of ideas are in there. And then I would also try to find some people that you know in your life that you would say are kind of creative and hang out with them, mastermind with them, brainstorm with them.
Hang out with kids. They're super creative. They have no,
Yeah, kids and visit a museum,
they have no block on what
You
they
know,
can
and just-
do.
appreciate art.
Hey, my wife runs a daycare, so if you ever want to.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, part-time.
Carrie, what do you got?
I think we should do all the things that you talked about to say, we operate like a tribe, and that's so different than any other brokerage does. Where you can come into anyone's office and say, I'm feeling like crud today, and okay, then it's my responsibility to say, hey Cindy, let me work on that, let me build you up. It's okay to do that here. That's not the culture in other places. So to say we are each other's tribe, we can go to each other. And then you find that person, Jacob, who is who you want to be 10 steps further down the road. And you say, that is my person. And you find those people for whatever it is that you're looking for, that you feel like you haven't arrived yet where you want to be. And that becomes your mentor person for that. And it's not going to be one person who does it all, but you find your people.
Thanks for sharing that, because you kind of gave me an aha, which flips this metaphor. So we know this example, everybody's pulling each other down. What if your environment was you're surrounded by other monkeys, other people that help pull you up after you? At the minute you enter the room, they say, come on up, let us help you, right? Versus tearing you down and trying to beat you up for doing something new or outside the box or something that they view as negative, right? So ask yourself, how can I help contribute to or be a part of or create an environment that's all about lifting others up with us, and sometimes even lifting them higher than you? That's a true mark of a really great environment and organization, when you help somebody even surpass you. So they help each other not to succeed. Who's pulling you down? And sometimes what we have to realize is sometimes when somebody's kind of pulling you down, they're not trying to do it to be negative necessarily. They might actually think they're helping you or saving you per se, right? I always think back to it's a small story, but yeah, obviously, so I'll be the first to admit, I know I'm not the tallest guy in the room.
Hey-o.
Thank you, Nick. And my family is relatively short. I think I only have one brother that's shorter than me, unfortunately. But anyway, one of my brothers is a little bit shorter, and when he was young and talking with my dad about sports and stuff, I remember my dad telling him, yeah, when it comes to football, you're really going to want to focus on these positions just because, given your height, really, these other positions probably aren't really going to pan out for you. Yeah, at the time, I didn't think, I was probably like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? But then when I put it in this context, it's like, what you just did for him was you just artificially capped him and told him you didn't even have a snowball's chance in whatever. So he's not even going to pursue that, right? Versus say, just go after it, make it happen. I don't care what position you desire to do. If you put in the work and you truly want to make it happen, you got a good shot at doing it. Right? So I think that example makes it a little bit more relevant. Sometimes in real estate, it's hard to envision how that would pan out, but everybody can probably think of a conversation they've had in life that now if you go back and think about it, you're kind of like, ooh, I was maybe doing that person a disservice or pointing them in the wrong direction just because I had some preconceived notions that maybe weren't entirely true. And then safeguard yourself from doing that in the future. And oh, by the way, use it as a lens to filter advice and information you're receiving from others as well. I'm going to go door knock. No door knock, just it's terrible and it never works.
They slam it on your face.
Yeah. Great. Have you ever tried it? No. Then why am I listening to advice from you? Right? People will always remember how you made them feel, not necessarily what you did or what you said. People will always remember how you made them feel, not necessarily what you said or did. Think about that when it comes to working with your clients and working with your other agents, being with your family, etc. And ask yourself, how do you want your clients, family members, whoever to feel when they interact with you? How do you want people to feel by the time they're done having a conversation? If you remind yourself of that, I think it will help shape your conversations, and I guarantee they'll probably be a lot more productive, and your relationships will be a lot stronger. Everyone has a sign around their neck that says, "Make me feel important." Every one of your clients wants to feel important to you. And regardless of what you do, you make them feel a certain way. Is it positive or is it negative? Does a lack of communication make them feel important, that they're not a priority, that you don't care? Or does your constant communication make them feel important, like they're a priority and like you're their number one concern? And every time they interact with you, that's how they feel. I guarantee from a repeat referral standpoint, if you make a goal for your people to feel overwhelmingly valued every time you have a conversation or interaction with them, business is going to be on a pretty solid foundation. Oh, by the way, if you apply that to interacting with other agents, how do you think they're going to feel about you? Especially when there's a multiple offer situation. You're up against two other offers, but this agent just happens to really like you because they've had nothing but phenomenal interactions with you in the past. I milk the crap out of them all the time. Oh, hey, can't wait to do another deal with you. Let's make it happen. Let's bring this one together. What's that?
So excited.
Yeah, exactly. I want to take a little bit of time talking about this notion of this concept. Playing to win versus Midwest nice. And I had to change this a little bit because I was in Wisconsin yesterday talking about Minnesota nice. And I realized they're all very mean in Wisconsin. Just kidding. But really, if you look at Minnesota nice, really, honestly, it's a term that I think encompasses the Midwest. It's really Midwest nice, right? We're not too aggressive. We're not too pushy. We have the mentality that, Cindy, if we have a great interaction and I meet you at my open house, obviously you know I'm a realtor. Clearly, I gave you my card. There's a good chance you will hopefully, maybe if I say prayers tonight, you'll call me to do business with me. Right? And we leave it up to chance, we leave it up to hope, we leave it up to faith. We don't play to win. We don't say, Cindy, it was phenomenal meeting you. How is it that I can help you with your real estate needs? Oh my Lord, God forbid you do that in Minnesota. That's way too forward. Not at all. That's called playing to win in our business, especially in a market right now, when playing to win is what you need to do in order to, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. These are just my take. This is my take on how right now you can play to win. Number one, it's having and maintaining a positive mindset. That's the most crucial, foundational piece. If you desire to get out there and play to win and win business and win clients right now, you have to have the right mindset. Number two, we have got to sharpen our skills. We need to know our scripts. We need to know the market. We need to know everything inside and out in order to be hyper competitive against everybody else right now that's playing on the same field. So what are you doing from a training and education, coaching, mentorship, script practice, role-playing standpoint to sharpen and hone your sales skills right now? Because that will be a differentiator. And oh, by the way, we've been in this market for how many years now? I don't disagree with that. I'd say for sure since 2016. You could probably include 15 in that as well. So we've been doing this, let's call it 2016. For 16, 17, now we're heading into 18. Are there any signs of this letting up anytime soon? No. So if you're somebody that's saying, well, I just can't wait for the market to balance out, and it won't be as competitive. Well, guess what? That might not be for 3, 4, 5 years. So what you need to do in the meantime, or give some consideration to, is this is the market today. This is the reality. What do I need to do to up my game to increase my chances and the chances of my clients winning? Be bold and go for the close. In the example I just gave you where I was interacting with Cindy at an open house, go for the close. Ask for the business. Make it clear. Don't leave anything up to chance. If you have an interaction with somebody and you walk away hoping that they read between the lines, you did not play to win. You did not go for the close. You didn't say, hello, my name is Nick with Keller Williams. What can I do to earn your business? It's simple scripts. Think of just the tiniest of things you can do or tweak in the scripts, the interactions, or conversations with people to make it clear that you desire to do business with them, their friends, or their family. That one simple tweak, I guarantee, will yield massive results in your business. If you make it your one and only focus, substantial impact to your business. And have a relentless follow-up. Trudy mentioned something earlier that I spent a lot of time talking with the folks in the process about yesterday, which is, well, I thought for sure I had this listing. The next thing I know, I see it on MLS, or I make a phone call and I listen to somebody else this Saturday. I said, great. You know what that means? It means you didn't what?
Close.
Yeah, you didn't close. You didn't play the way. You didn't close. You left it up to chance. You left it up to fate. You just hoped that would happen. No, here's the deal. I'm at an appointment. They say, Zach, you won't be ready for a couple of weeks. Great. Here's what I can do. I can save you some time and hassle. We can sign the contract now. We'll just push the pause button. I can go ahead and start doing some pre-marketing or get things in order so that 2 weeks from now, when you're ready to hit the market, we can just submit the paperwork and you'll be live. Don't leave it to chance. Lock it up there. Well, Zach, here's the deal. It's been nice meeting with you. There's maybe 1 or 2 other people we'd like to have a conversation with. Great. Other than having a few more agents that you'd like to meet with, is there anything else that would prevent you from go ahead and hire me today? No. Great. Well, here's what I'd love to do for you. I will happily call those other agents, save you some time, save them some time, and let them know you've already agreed to hire me. And then if they have any buyers, they're more than welcome to bring them through. Would it be okay if I made that call for you? What's the worst they could say? You would do that. Yeah. The worst they could say is no. Right? What's the best they could say?
Sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. You just locked it down. Last but not least, providing exceptional client care. Making a very conscientious effort to exceed expectations, go above and beyond, and provide phenomenal, exceptional client care. At first, the word I had there was unmatched client care. But then I said, let's be real. Okay? Let's not get crazy. Let's just provide phenomenal, exceptional client care. And that'll take care of itself in terms of our business. Repeat, referral, etc. If we make those things our focus and we shift ourselves from just being an agent who's nice to everybody and hopes things will come together, to being an agent that's being strategic, that's playing to win, that's making a conscientious effort to secure the business, those will be the things we focus on that will make a huge difference. And always remind yourself, if you don't go for the close, if not you, then who? if not you, then there are plenty of crews out there. And if you don't lock it up, they will step up and they will lock it up before you do. They'll be happy to do that. But here's what I know about you and everybody in this room. When you're working with your clients, you are coming for contribution. You're looking to help them. You're looking to take care of them. You're going to do things ethically, morally, right. So if they're not working with you, who might they end up with? An agent that maybe doesn't have the same moral compass as you. An agent that maybe is not going to take as great care or give them as good of advice. So when you phrase it this way, it almost becomes incumbent upon you to go for the close. That's your job. Because the only way you know for sure that somebody's going to be well taken care of in this industry is if they're working with you. Or me, no, I'm just kidding. Is if they're working with you. So do them a favor and win their business. Don't be afraid to go for it. You're bringing a lot to the table. I don't know why sometimes, and this is some self-talk too, sometimes we're fearful to get the business, right? It might not be going that way in our heads, but sometimes we're fearful to get the business. When in reality, what we need to be is confident in the fact that we know we're going to take great care of people. So we need to go out and get as much business as we can, and help as many people as we can. A couple of scripts that I would utilize, whether you're at an open house or wherever. Sometimes you might interact with somebody. Yeah, we're looking for a home. Blah 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 blah. Here's a great phrase I think would be helpful. Great. Are you already committed to an agent, or do I have the opportunity to help you? Is that a very non-threatening way to ask for somebody's business? Leanne, thanks so much for coming through my open house. It's completely awesome that you're looking for a home here in Rochester. I have a pretty good sense for your price point, what it is you're looking for. I just want to say, if you're not already committed to an agent, is there any way that I could help you with your real estate needs? Awesome, thank you. Let's have an appointment. Notice I'm really asking two questions, right? But I'm asking one that I'm ending with. And I'm very conscientiously using the word committed. Don't rewrite the script and say, do you know an agent? Do you know an agent? Or, oh yeah, I already know an agent. I'm not asking if you know an agent. I'm asking if you're committed to an agent. Nick.
I didn't do it.
Okay, good. Hey, could you do me a favor and answer this question for me? I said, are you already committed to an agent, or do I have the opportunity to help you out?
That could work out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
And ask yourself where you can apply this. Here's the next one, because what I'm getting a lot of right now is people saying, "Gosh, people are listing their homes for sale by owner. My buyers are finding them, and every so often I'm having to make a phone call to a for sale by owner. I don't know if I'm going to get paid." Well, here's the script I would use if you're talking to a for sale by owner and you've got some buyers and you still want to get paid. Awesome. That sounds like it sounds like we have a win-win. I can save you half the commission and all the hassle. Well, what do you mean? Well, here's the deal. Instead of paying 6 or 7%, you just got to pay half of it, and I'll help you with all the paperwork. I'll help coordinate things with title. I'll help get everybody through home inspection, appraisal, etc. It's a pretty phenomenal win-win for you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, that you get me to do all this for you at only half the cost. Instead of making that call under the assumption that there's no way this for sale by owner is going to want to work with me, because our assumption is all for sale by owners hate real estate agents and they're never going to pay me. Call, tee it up, and phrase it that way. Awesome. Sounds like we have a win-win. I've got a buyer for you. You're looking to save money. Boom. I can save you half, do all the work for you. How's that sound?
So that's kind of the phone call I took. So this guy wants to sell on his own. Long story short, I don't have a specific buyer right now. It would be just a great listing. I know it would sell in 2 hours, without doubt. He's way underpricing it. He just texted me the price. What was that?
What'd you tell him?
Well, I told him, he essentially said that he's just going to list it himself. He'll go through, but if he has any questions, he'll give me a call.
What's it?
Of course you
Did you
will.
tell him that he's leaving money on the table?
Well,
Hang on, you're gonna get Leanne all fired up.
I know.
So Nick,
Just curious.
so Nick,
Do you wanna
what's,
go on a, let's jump in the car.
what's his first, Nick, what's his first name?
John,
Okay, and we talked about this earlier, I already asked you, can you help him with a place to buy? He said no, he's going to rent it now.
Yep, yeah.
So if you're in a situation like this, and number one,
He's only like
can we
five guys.
win all of them?
No,
No, you can't win all. I like whoever said, you're not gonna win all of them, right? And that's just, you have to have that mindset going, this is a numbers game, I'm gonna make as many contacts as I can, I'll win the ones I can, or more importantly, I will find the opportunities that might exist, right? So what I might do if I'm Nick is I would say, hey, here's the deal, John, that's cool, I can appreciate the fact that you wanna save some money. By the way, if I find a buyer and I bring them to you, would you still be willing to compensate?
which he is. He's totally
Perfect.
fine with that. He said, you know,
Perfect.
bring me your buyer.
So
I
here's
got
the
one.
next step I would do. John, here's what I'd love to do. Would you mind? Could I network this a little bit? Maybe do a little bit of marketing of your property on your behalf to see if I can uncover any buyers.
Okay.
And if he gives you permission, what can you start doing?
Actually, that was my next question. What can I do?
You can start dating. So if you've already got
Yeah.
buyers, or you've got people, or you're part of groups and stuff on social media, etc. If he gives you permission, if he hasn't started marketing that sucker yet, and he gives you permission to start letting people know about it, that's a carrot you can dangle to pick up buyers and bring together a deal.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
The other thing is how.
He's only about, I
See,
think.
now Leanne's becoming a buyer for you right now.
I mean,
So-
it's a fantastic deal.
So the other conversation I would have is with people like Melissa that, work with investors, right? So it's oftentimes, when we hear, what we hear is no, because we're just immediately, oh, okay, it sounds like it's not gonna be a listing for me. So the next question is, well, is there any other opportunity that exists? This guy's set on doing it himself, I'm not gonna push him, but what I can do is maybe use this, if he gives me permission, as a way to capture more buyers that I can then continue to work with, if not get his property sold.
Yeah, he's gonna use the Mayo network and a few other things like I did last time.
Great. Jake?
I lost it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now that you have it, we're moving on.
All right, perfect.
What's up?
So, okay, so you said earlier you said if he doesn't market it before, you can market it as an agent? Or if he already started marketing and had it out, you can't?
So let's keep it as simple as possible. If I say, hey, John, that's cool. Do you mind if can I put the word out and just let people know about it? That's all you're doing. You're not saying, hey, check out my new listing. I've got this. No, say, hey, I know about a property. This guy's getting ready to sell. So let me know if you have any interest. I can connect you. Too easy.
So it doesn't matter if they do their own thing or not.
If he gives you permission to start letting people know
Right.
about it, then you're good.
Do we have a contract for that, or just an email will suffice? Because you want that in
How
writing
about
before
Facebook
you.
Messenger?
Okay, I'm just gonna push timeout right now and say, ask Michelle. She's coming right after me. And don't shoot yourself in the foot. But at the same time, I've learned a lot. This is from last round of gold too. I'm a high I, and I've learned that the people I get into conflict with most, which I didn't know this before, are C's. The people that, I love you, Susan, but the people that say, can we do that? Do we have a contract? I'm like,
Well, I'm just trying to stay out of
no,
trouble.
you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, and I'm just.
I'm trying to keep all of you and me out of
I
trouble.
appreciate it. Remind yourself, the person talking dominates the conversation. The person asking questions controls it. Thank you. I'd like to take credit for it. The person talking dominates the conversation. The person asking questions controls it. Whether it's a buyer consult, listing consult, whatever. We as agents, if we're really good, are the ones asking great questions, interacting with our clients. We're not talking at them and just vomiting words all over them. We're asking them questions and trying to uncover what it is that they need and what we can do to best help them, best serve them. Here's another idea that would be a phenomenal thing to do. You okay? We all right?
We might have to just go take a break.
Okay.
We might have to just
We're
go jump
almost
in the
done.
car and drive to this guy's house.
We're almost done. This would be a phenomenal idea right now to implement in your business in this market. If you left the meeting today and started doing this right now, I bet you'd uncover some deals. The unsolicited CMA, and here's it can be a phone call, it can be a marketing, whatever, however you want to use this text. If you want to tweak it, that's fine too. Here's the deal. When you own stocks, it's easy to go online and find their value. However, the same isn't true regarding the value of your home. I've included a complimentary home value analysis to make it easier for you. Let me know if I can ever be of help to you, your friends, or family. All the best. If you want to, you can plus us up with statistics that demonstrate sellers are getting top dollar very fast in the market right now, right? But if you made that a systematic thing that you do annually or biannually in your business, imagine the hits you would get off of that. You can do it one of two ways. You can just do it at the same time every year, or you can try to correlate it and coordinate it each time, a past client has their home anniversary when they closed last, right? So this is a no-brainer, because do you think a lot of people are paying attention to what their home value is?
Yes and no.
They have no idea.
Well, they
They have no
hear
idea.
all the things out there,
Let me rephrase it to you. If somebody isn't thinking about buying or selling, do you think they have any idea what their home value is?
Not really.
No. If it's top of mind or of an interest, then they might have started doing some research.
Somewhere around now.
Right, but if you provide this to somebody, and all of a sudden, like, holy crap, I had no idea our home was worth this much. Might that cause them to start having some conversations and thinking, wow, we got a lot of value in this that we could potentially cash out and do some stuff with. Maybe we should have a conversation with Leanne. So maybe you send this out, whether it's email, whether it's direct mail, and the next week you follow up, hey Leanne, Zach over at Keller Williams. How are you? How's your summer going? Hey, just wanted to make sure you got that complimentary home value analysis I sent you. Did you have any questions about it? Were you surprised at all by your home value?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Just kind of excited,
Awesome. What made you excited about it?
seeing that there's so much equity I have sitting there.
Absolutely. You do have a lot of equity in your home, which is an awesome place to be in. It gives you a lot of options. And if you ever decide that you want to pursue any of those options or leverage some of that equity to maybe pay off some debt or help some kids with college, let me know. I would love to help you do that. By the way, do you know anybody else that might have some real estate needs that I can help?
Think about it.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate that. Could you do me a huge favor? If and when you do come across somebody that could use my help, would you put them in touch? I promise to take great care of them. Awesome. Thank you. That's your lead generation from 9 to 11. It's calls like that. It doesn't have to be the door knocking or the straight up cold calls. It can be strategic stuff like this that not only was a part of lead generation, but what did that do with the relationship between myself and that client, your past client? I just strengthened it by adding value. Like that's playing at the pro level, right? And it's not hard to do. Is that hard to do? Every one of you by the end of the week could implement this, pull the trigger on it, and start doing it. And oh, by the way, would it cost you a lot of money? No, if anything, it would cost you time, especially if you just email it, right? Okay, I'm almost done, I promise. I've got a little team leader throwdown challenge because we're all playing to win. And my challenge is this. Between now and the end of August, to plan and host one client appreciation event this summer. Brad, you already have the game. My challenge to you is to, between right now and the end of August, plan and host a client appreciation event. Just do it. Don't even think about it, just do it. That's my challenge to you. Look at the weather forecast ahead of time. I'll make sure there's not a big snowstorm. Last but not least, this is my last slide I have for you. This is just a collection of great ahas I took from Bold, and then I'll get you out of here. We can enjoy lunch right from Michelle. Dream believers are always in abundance. Dream buyers are rare. Dream believers are always in abundance. Dream buyers are rare. What does that mean?
People that cannot afford are out there looking.
I love that you immediately wanted to apply it to your real estate
Yeah.
clients. But what it means is this. Everybody wants a brand new fancy car. Everybody wants a newer, bigger house. Everybody wants this, this, or that. There's a huge difference between the people that want things and the people that actually take action to get the things. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of dreams. Nobody out there actually doing the actions it takes to go buy those dreams.
Like you're waiting for it to come to them or something about it.
Absolutely. It's them. It's just wanting. It's not actually taking the action to realize what they desire. Whatever it is. Nothing can hold you back except yourself. And I know immediately some people want to be like, well, no, there's no well. Nothing can hold you back except yourself. If you're saying well, that's literally you holding yourself back. Well, but, okay, yeah, you're holding yourself back right now. Are you living at the highest level? Are you performing at your fullest potential? Release your passion, stir up your energy. Your energy levels are almost always directly related to your passion. Don't lose your enthusiasm. That helps you keep your energy up. Stay passionate. Stay in gratitude. When you've got a client and you, for the third time, strike out and you don't get an offer and you're super frustrated, just be grateful that you have a client that you're working with, right? Never let anyone take you back. Never let anybody take you backward. I was talking with an agent 2 mornings ago, and she said, my biggest fear is I've done all this work, I built this up to this point in my business, I've got this life event about to happen, I don't want it to move backward. She refuses to move backward, and she's trying everything she can to bring everything to bear to make sure that she continues to push forward. Don't let anyone or anything take you backward. Keep moving forward, keep that momentum going. Stay productive. A breakdown is a breakthrough. This is true. I know it sounds really corny, but I've been in my business before where I was building up to that point, getting to that 25, 30 deals a year, and it's like, man, this is crazy, it's nuts, I'm working like a dog, holy crap. And it was mass chaos. But getting to that point allowed me to hit the breakthrough moment of bringing on administrative help. That rebalanced everything and then took us to the next level. We have to help ourselves, and your greatest accomplishment is in your future. Your greatest accomplishment is in your future. You have something to look forward to. You have something to strive for. Keep at it. There's no looking back. Keep moving forward and striving for even greater things. Anything else? Any other ahas? I know it was a heavy mindset day, but the sense of what I'm seeing is just in general in our market is, people are getting a little down on themselves because it can be tough. But in reality, you guys have everything you need to make it happen. So go grab some food. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks.
Okay, you better go.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, pass it out.
That's all right. I was down here.